Alright, so in this video, I'm gonna talk about what had me go inpatient for 13 days. I went in Wednesday, November 14th, and got out. No, went in Thursday, November 14th, and got out on Wednesday, November 27th, which was I got out. I got home about 5 o'clock that night. It was the night before Thanksgiving. But I'm not going to go over everything because that was just the thing that pushed me to the edge. Um, and I'm actually not going to throw names in there. I'm just going to kind of give the basics of what happened, as well as I'm going to talk about while I was in there and the effects afterwards. All I'm going to say is that when I came out of there, I was a totally different person. I was able to open my eyes, clear my mind, and I was able to see everything as a whole, And when I look at it, it's like, wow, it's like from when I was in there and I'm looking almost like on the outside, I'm like, how the hell was I doing that? Um, Basically, when you deal with narcissistic, manipulative people, um, there's no point in even trying to reason with them because they're not going to listen to a word that you say. And I consider myself basically a realist. I try to base everything on facts, and I try to base everything on, you know, what the situation is. But people that do that get frowned upon by these narcissistic, manipulative people because they only want to see it their way. But if you look at it from an open, and it's kind of ironic because everything that I have stated to people that I talk to, like professionals and all, the other people are starting to see it 20 steps later. So that's why I said anything that I say will have that chance of surfacing because it's, I could sit there. I always tell my therapist, I could sit there and say everything that goes on, but unless you're living it, you won't understand it. So, anyways, this person basically is making decisions on a lot of things, and they're decisions that I'm not gonna deny. It's almost like she don't know half of what the hell she's talking about when she's making them. She's just going in gung ho and doing, what she has to do. Um, and I tried pointing some things out, and basically, I was having guilt trips thrown at me. I was having this thrown at me, and that, and I literally felt like I was being backed into a corner with the words, and I had to argue my way out. Um, that I ended up blowing up, and I shouldn't have did it because of the fact that my daughter saw it and all, and I had to argue my way out, and basically I stormed outside, and that was that. But that whole night, I kept arguing with this person in my head. I couldn't sleep. I was getting headaches. I was feeling physically sick. And again, this goes back not with this person, but in life in general. It goes back 8+ years of hardship. Ever since my dad passed, I've never really been right up here. Um, but it just, being manipulated by another person that is close to me. Basically verbal, emotional, guilt trips, anything you can think of. It just all built up. And again, with the main person, I want to keep it to a bare minimum of what I say in that sense, but I have no problems down the line when it's all said and done throwing them under the bus because I will, even if I have to beforehand with legal stuff, I will. But because everything that I have said, everything that I could prove everything. Um, so, anyways, I started arguing with her in my head that night, that Sunday night into Monday. Luckily, I met with my therapist that Monday, but I kept arguing, and again, I was feeling physically sick. I wasn't sick, but I felt like it was destroying me. And literally going into the place I went into, I swear, in the long run, has prolonged some years on my life, because I literally felt like that if I didn't do something at that point, I wasn't going to be around much longer. Um, that's one of my problems is I let other people control, or I did let other people dictate what I was doing, what I wasn't doing, how I felt, how I wasn't feeling. And I basically kind of lost control of my own life in a way, because I wasn't living for them, but it was like they were renting space up in my head. Um, but I contribute that if I wouldn't have gone in there and I wouldn't have worked on what I worked on, I wouldn't have been around long, because it was taking its toll mentally, emotionally, physically, and all of the above. Apparently I dropped 25 pounds over the course of this whole mess. And that's going back to, the beginning of the year or whatever, because there's other stuff that car wise and stuff like that. But it all was just building up to me to where I ended up reaching out to my therapist that day. And they have been trying to get me to go into this place for a while now, but the timing just wasn't right. I had to make sure everything was good for my daughter, make sure all bases were covered with her. And I also didn't want to feel like I was leaving her out in the situation in its own right. But when I told my daughter, the day I step foot in that place is the day our future starts, because something had to give, something had to. I didn't know what the outcome was going to be when I went in there. I didn't know if it was just going to push all the negative stuff into the back of my mind, and then when I got out, it would just surface again automatically. So I had no clue what to expect, but I told my therapist, I said, it's time. I said, I can't do this anymore. And so I thought that when I said that it happens at that moment. But I told her, I have to get some things straightened out. I have to get, some money for my daughter to make sure that, she has stuff that she can get, around for at the house, food, stuff like that. And her mom helped out a lot with that situation. So I'm thankful for a lot of people that stepped up that needed to. Um, which a few of them I was very, very surprised that they did. But I did have a lot of good support going in, just the people you would think. But then again, one of them was some of the reason at that point. Um, so, anyways, I went in that Thursday, and, I talked to my therapist on Monday, and I said, it's time. I said, I can't continue to do this. I said, if I don't, I'm not going to be around much longer. So it was time. So that Thursday I ended up going in, and it was kind of like a blah. It was mostly questions being asked, and you meet with your counselor for the first time, and you meet with another guy. He asked questions, and then I think there was another person in between. It was almost like all the same questions. So by the time the dude asked it, it was like third time around for the questioning. But the first about 4 days were rough. A lot of emotions were coming out. I was having nightmares. In fact, I had nightmares and weird dreams in that place every single night but one. And even on one of them, I was being chased in my dream, and they were all based around these people. The one person, that I was having the issues with, and I literally was being chased in my dream, and for some reason, and this ain't the first time I've done it, I don't make a habit of doing it, but it was probably maybe the third maximum or max that I've done it. But I was being chased in my dream, and all I remember is I went to get away from them, but I dove off the bed and crashed to the ground. Blankets and sheets and everything were wrapped in me. Um, when I told them, they were like, "Do you want to go get checked out?" Nah, it's just I was more in shock that I did it. I mean, yeah, my arse was hurting, the one arse cheek, but you know, but it was. I mean, the first 2 nights I slept with the patch on. That triggered huge nightmares. I've slept with the patch on before when I've used it years ago, and I never got nightmares. I got heavy, vivid dreams, but I never got nightmares. But it was where my mindset was. So I really never got a good night's sleep. I was waking up with the sweats. My whole entire legs were completely soaked. Um, and that was pretty much. I mean, it subsided a little, but it was every single night but one um, that that occurred, and I was waking up like on and off like every 2 to 3 hours. So, anyways, the first 4 days were, I was kind of all over the place. A situation occurred while I was out, and that got brought to my attention that Saturday, and that set me spiraling again because I'm going in there to try to focus on what I have to focus on, and I'm not faulting the person that called, but this other person who's causing all this, we'll just label her as Queen B. So Queen B um, showed up and caused the scene at the house, and it was just a complete, my daughter's in tears, and, I'm on the inside. I almost left. I honestly, and I told them that. I told them where I was, that I almost left because I don't want to be in where I can't help my daughter. So the situation worked itself out, but not really. But anyways, everybody went their separate directions. Unfortunately, my daughter couldn't stay here for that night and had to go um, home or to her mom's and sleep there just for the night. And she says, "I don't care, I'm going back." And she's told me that, she was going to, if the person was still there when she got, if Queen Bee was still here when she got back, she was going to tell her she lost all respect for her. And I said, "Look, you can't, it's not even worth it. I mean, you can't talk to somebody who doesn't want to hear what you have to say." But she wasn't here, so that was, so anyways, I want to say by that Monday, and mornings also were bad because when I woke up in the morning, everything would hit me. And I would go out onto the back patio and I would just like sit behind this like pillar, a brick pillar that's holding, the roof and the lights and all that up. And I would just sit behind that, just gazing out into the lake, and the tears would just start coming. So mornings were pretty bad up until maybe that that Tuesday or Wednesday. But yeah, so but finally I was able to start processing again. There was a lot of emotions, a lot of tears being shed. And as I was processing everything, I started, I always believe in talking in groups, and I always believe in sharing my story, sharing, I guess that's the peer in me. Um, but I always believe in sharing what's going on inside of me, and things that have worked, things that don't work, because other people can learn from that. And, sometimes there's people in groups that don't even talk, but I know for me, if I'm in a group and somebody's talking, like the other day with the job, when I was just sitting in on a group, the person that was running the group was talking, and already my mind was coming up with ideas and jotting stuff down in my mind that I could possibly do. If I keep like scrunching my nose, I feel like I gotta sneeze. If I start sneezing, goes off till I'm done, because my record's 25. I sneeze so much that when I was dating my daughter's mom, that we started keeping track, and 25 was my record. But anyways, so time started going on. I was sharing in groups. I was talking, sharing what was working, what wasn't. And I never really went fully into my story of why I was in there. I mean, a couple people I told, but staff-wise, I told definitely two of them. Um, the one dude, he rocks, man. Whatever they're paying him ain't enough. But anyways, time started going on, and I started, the emotions. I started processing them, and I started seeing everything that I was going through, and it was just coming out as it came, and I just started coming up with ways that I could deal with the situation when I'm out here, or not deal with the situation. Because again, when you're dealing with someone who doesn't want to meet you halfway, doesn't want to reason with you, they want to throw guilt trips at you, they want to throw this at you, throw that at you, you can't reason, or you can't talk to them. I mean, I might as well talk to the wall. And people laugh when I say that, but at least the wall ain't gonna try to manipulate you or twist it or throw shit back at you that doesn't make one bit of sense. And it's just them trying to justify mistakes that they're making, or things that prove that they're right. So radical acceptance and mindfulness was one of the best things that you possibly can do, or that I could possibly do in these situations. Because again, I have to radically accept that when you can't reason with somebody, what can you do? So my thoughts is that I want as little to no interaction with this person, and I'm not running from them. I'm just, I guess, protecting my own well-being, because in the sense of that they don't want to hear what I have to say anyway, so they're not worth my time. Now, unfortunately, I did have an interaction with her on Monday, but it was very minimal. I talked to the other one a lot more than that one, because I have nothing against anybody except this one person. And unfortunately, I hope it's not like my friendship, where other people get caught in the crossfire, and they I lose contact with them, because that happened with a friend. She got caught in the middle of a crossfire of somebody she was living with, and me and this other person, the girl, got into an argument, and my friend got caught in the crossfire, and that down went a 11-year friendship. And I mean, I don't know, but so yeah, while I was in there, I was doing a lot of soul searching. My goal was, when I went in there, was to find the answers that are within me, because we all have the answers within us. It's just a matter of having a clearer mind to be able to find them. But I was able to start processing it, doing it, what I needed to do. The things were starting to come to me, and it's not going to be easy every single time. But for this situation, I'm not going to deny, when I was nervous as hell when Tuesday night rolled around, before I was leaving that Wednesday. And then that Wednesday, at the boarding, I felt like shit, because I was going back out to reality. Then I started doing my laps around that path that I've put on here. But then, as I went back in, and the closer it was getting to the time I was supposed to be leaving at 4:30, by the time the transportation picked me up, it was like 20 of 4:45. So that's why I made it home around 5 o'clock. I was a wreck. I was literally pacing. I was pacing in the room that I was in there. I was pacing by the back door where the patio is. And I knew I was going to be fine once I got out, but when I finally did get out, I smoked a cigarette. That was the first thing I did. I mean, I did smoke once while I was there, because I had to go get money to put on my card, to pay the ticket that I have. And so I smoked then. It didn't make me as lightheaded as I thought it would, which is weird, because that was the longest I had ever gone without smoking, which was, at that point, a week and basically a day. Since I started smoking, that's pretty much the longest time. So by the time I got home, my daughter came running to me, and she was crying. She was happy. It was happy tears. And the people that I feel the worst in this situation for are my daughter, my mom, and my cats. They're the ones that I feel the worst for in this whole situation because this should have never came to what it has come to. And somehow it's going to get twisted and I will get blamed for it. But at this point, it doesn't mean nothing because those involved, whether admitted or not, they know the facts. Um, so, anyways, that night I was happy to be home, but I felt weird. It took my daughter went and spent the night at her mom's that night, so it was just kind of me and here and my brother and cats, and I felt weird because it's like when I got here, it was my daughter, her mom, and her mom's youngest son, and it was I'm not going to deny it was kind of overwhelming, and I wanted my daughter there, but I also felt like if the others left, I felt like my mom would be able to settle down more. Uh, so the night went on, and then I talked to an ex-girlfriend for a good while on the phone, and that actually helped me. I dated her last year, 2023, and that actually helped me because it helped make me feel like there was some normalcy going on by just talking to her. And we just talked about random stuff. We're friends now, so I mean, not gonna deny I still love her, but it has to be kind of from a distance. Um, Always will. Uh, but at the same time, she helped bring back a little bit of more normalcy in my life right then and there. But then Thanksgiving, I felt um, still weird. It just came back, and Thanksgiving there was something came up with this person, Queen Bee, and her name got mentioned, and all of a sudden I felt like I was starting to ruminate them thoughts in my head again, where I kept arguing with her, and I said, you know what, fuck this. So I took a walk, and that's when I took the walk back to the pond. Um, and it took. Sorry, mail guy just came. we we got a letter, or on the envelope it's addressed to Hank Hill. It's our address, but it says Hank Hill. I think he's a dude from I'm not sure what TV show, but anyways, so while I was taking a while I was taking a walk back to the thing, I have to when I get in my head and I go on them trips, I can't sit. I have to keep moving because if I feel like I'm exploring and looking for things, then it distracts. But while walking back there, I saw a mockingbird, so I was able to get that on video, and that's when it started leaving. And so the trip, I was proud of myself because I didn't continue to argue with her in my head. I just kept walking and looking for things, whether it's birds or whatever, and it worked. Um, so yeah, so then I was proud of myself for doing that, and then the rest of the day I felt good. My daughter came back after dinner was done, and things again. She was home the rest of the weekend. She was off and all that, and everything just kind of then at that point started falling back into place. I was able to start getting back into going to my appointments and doing my everyday weekly stuff. And I mean, I'm not going to deny it just felt weird being here after not being here for 13 days. But I adjusted back into, but the one, like I said, I don't know how to explain this. But the person that went in there and the person that came out, it's it's a totally different person. My mind is so clear. I can see things that if something happens, I feel like I can take it on right then and there. And it's almost like my mind was rejuvenated while I was in there, to the point that I haven't seen things so clearly for over probably 10 years. 2 years that my dad wasn't, that he was sick, is kind of when it started. Um, from being induced into a coma because of a infection in his lungs to, constantly having to report like how he's doing and this and that. And my brain with the ADD and the everything else wasn't able to process anything, and your thoughts just get so consumed with just focusing on everything that's going on and updates and this and that. So when I came out, it's like it felt so good. It was like, and yes, there's times where I still fall back in. Like the other night, I was listening to music, and all of a sudden it brought me to, because I can't go visit my mom because I don't have a freaking car, and it's like that's pissing me off. And it's like you feel like you want to see this person and you can't because you have no way of getting there. I'm not going to deny the few times I went, but I can't keep you know what I mean? I can't keep Ubering, and the bus stop ain't really near here, and it's like, so, and I've even searched to see the walking distance. It's like 7.8 miles. I'm like, I mean, I could do it, and it says it would take me over about 4.5 hours, but again, like I said in one video, I don't really trust that because they give you all these roundabout ways, whereas if I'm cutting straight across the field and just walking all the wooded areas and stuff like that. So they don't put that stuff on there. So I'm not saying it would probably take me about two and a half, but no way would it take me 4 hours. But yes, I still have some things to deal with on here, and this person again is trying to cause problems again. And I felt myself last night talking somebody else down instead of me being the one that blows up. And if before I would have went into that place, my mind, I'd have been a wreck by the time all was said and done. So I am grateful that they gave me the options to go in there. And yes, what you get out of it is what you put into it. And I'm a firm believer on that. And my goal was to go in there and get my mind clear and get myself to where I can think clearly with the answers that are within me. And damn, I did it. It was like, and it's the greatest feeling. Then I come out and I get the job interview. And again, with job interviews, the way you have to do jobs, I like the old school way better, is where you fill out the application at the place, you get to meet them, they get to meet you, and then you go from there. Whereas these interview or applications, you do it at home, and if they need, say, 5 people at a job, and they get 600 applications, they may at this point just pick the first 5 that they find. And if your application is number 6 to 600, you're not even going to get looked at. So that's why I said in the video the other day is that all I ask when I put in applications is just give me the interview. Let me have the chance to win it or lose it. And go, and I go in there as myself. I go in there and I basically say what I can bring and what, I share a little bit of my background. I share a little bit of my story. And that wins people over because I go in organically. And people say, well, everybody can. No, they don't, because a lot of people will go in and bullshit their way through an interview. And then when they get hired, they realize, oops, they're the wrong person. So I can't explain how great of a feeling that it feels to know that my mind is so clear and I'm able to focus on things as they happen, and it's not building up. Whereas before, there was so much that was already in my mind, and when something else happens, it just gets stored up there. So I am so thankful for that. And again, it's still a work in progress. It always will be. But the more you do it, the more I do it, the easier it becomes, I guess. But that's kind of my journey through the inpatient part. And sorry if I have to leave, but like I said, when all is said and done and the smoke's clear and we're eventually in our own direction, I have no problem sharing the person that. But I'm gonna do a video at some point on dealing with narcissistic and manipulative people because I've dealt with a lot of them in my life, and some close and some not. Some, I think, because you go through it so much, you kind of attract them kind of people. I'm not saying everybody in my life, but it seems that way because I don't know if it's the personality of me or what it is, but it just seems like I have a tendency to attract similar people where maybe it's because I'm too open. I'm very open in the beginning. I have no, I pretty much throw everything out there, but at the same time, that also sets people up to realize, oh, well, I know what to do with this person. I know what to trigger, so that's pretty much, every day everything's a work in progress, but we all can get there. And I'm a prime example because, like I said, when I went in there, I was so burned out. When I came out, I was a totally different person. But I do want to do a video on manipulating people and narcissists because there's no dealing with them. And the only way you can deal with them is to ignore them. Because no matter what you do, they're going to twist it and make it look like you're the one that is wrong. So, with that said, I'm going to cut the video off there. Thanks to the mailman. I got to make the video because I got to blend this part and the last part in. But it is what it is. The mailman and Hank Hill. But yeah, so I'm hoping to hear from the job soon because the sooner I get there, the sooner I can start getting my life back on track because the first goals are, and I really don't know what I'm doing for Christmas because of the fact that even if I got hired, even if I started tomorrow, I highly doubt that I would have money by Christmas. So I think my daughter may understand that we'll have to do Christmas after Christmas. But then after that, car is the next thing. And then once I get a car, and this car will be no loan, it's being paid straightforward, which means I won't have to get full coverage. I can get liability only, and it will be a lot less money. Again, with that car, I was paying $770 a month, $500 for the car loan, $270 for car insurance. That was a third of my check when I was working. So I can't, don't get me started on the prices of everything because it's outrageous. And I'm not going to deny that they're making it to where nobody can live on their own. It's no matter what you do, you're always going to struggle unless you're a billionaire. So that's just my thoughts on that. And no, it's not a right or a left side thing. It's just a fucked up thing. I don't talk politics and I stay away from politics, and that's pretty much that. So, but anyways, I will let you go and I will see you in the next video. Hey, I just want to also throw this in there. Even the cat is feeling the stress that's going on. Kitten. Jason's upstairs, so he's in his own, Jason's always in his own little world. But even the Kitten is feeling this stress because he won't come out of the den. We actually moved his litter box out there. We don't know at one point if he hurt his foot. I mean, I wasn't here. But, I mean, it might have happened before. I don't know. But, he just won't come out of the den. He stays out there. So we moved his food bowl out, his water bowl out there, his litter box. I got him a smaller litter box, which Queen Bee even bitches about us, getting the money but we have a cat. We have to get stuff for the house, and once I start working and I start getting paid, then that's going to go out. We won't need them checks. But my point is that even the cat is going through the the stress and picking up on it, you know. And he will come out when he knows I'm feeding him, but a lot of times if he hears somebody come in the door, he'll dart out if somebody's coming in at the same time. So it was definitely concerning, because obviously Kitten is part of our family. He's like another one of, you know, he's my kid too. So yeah, but so yeah, he's definitely going through it as well with us. So we go out there, we spend as much time as we can with him. He's a very sensitive, emotional, you know, cat. So yeah, so I just want to throw that in there, that even the poor cat is going through it. So again, I mean, I like I said, I went in for me, as well as my daughter, as well as my cats and my mom, you know, because the situation is just, it is what it is. And again, I'm dealing with it step by step, and I'm dealing with it as it goes, and not taking on or thinking ahead of it. So again, I will see yous in the next video, but I just wanted to throw that clip in there at the end real quick. And you know, so I will see yous in the next video.